author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hey, this is Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson. That's right. I'm your nutritionist. I'm a guy who shares because I care. And I'm going to share my view today on something that I'm excited to share because I love the idea of actually having a conversation. And I believe the world that we live in right now is kind of missing a little bit of that. We're having a really hard time in being able to communicate and get to a place where everyone can kind of just have a moment to express themselves and express themselves in a way where people can agree to disagree and not take it personal. And so I put out a little post on my personal page, and I'm sharing this on all of my platforms because I'm a human being just like everybody else. I mean, I am dedicated every day, all day, on helping people improve their health, lose weight, and do it in a way where they're able to eat foods they enjoy, and they eat these foods in the right combinations. And everything that I share in that space is evidence-based and clinically proven. But at the same time, I'm a critical thinker. And as a critical thinker, I just kind of look at things the way they are. And every once in a while, I have a moment on my personal Facebook page where I will share something that may get people to react and move in a way that a lot of people who have a celebrity, situation, they don't have it in them to post because they lack courage. And so many people are afraid to be canceled. And I think that that's a sad thing because we live in a world where so many people are falling into that a lot of people are just doing everything political based on money. Whereas I'm okay to be wrong if I'm wrong. I really am. I'm totally okay to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm the kind of person that will look at it for what it is and then, okay, I was wrong. And then I will improve myself as a human being. So I love sharing, and it's just so interesting because we grew up, or I grew up in a world where we didn't have social media. All of this is fairly new, and I just noticed that we live in this space where, like, from a political standpoint, people are ready to just go off. Now, let me just say up front before I share anything, this is not a political thing. If you know me as a human being, I actually love people. I love helping people. I want to be a voice and help as many people as I can with the skills and the gifts that God has given me. And I can say up front, even before I go into what I'm about to go into, that one of my college friends, he commented on my post that I'm going to share with you. And then on the side, he and I had a conversation. We laughed about it. And we're good. One of my other buddies, I go back, we did Taekwondo together, Lee. He's a great dude. He's always been a great person. I mean, I respect this guy, love this guy. We have major history. And thank goodness for Facebook because it's put us in a position where I can see he's got a family and he's got kids and they're growing up. And I'm so happy and proud for him. I mean, he spent, a good amount of time in the military and I'm a veteran and I think the world of you, Lee. I mean, I really do. But when I posted this, we have some different views. And the cool part is that we can actually talk about it. And then one of my very close, I would say one of my closest clients, someone who I just think the world of, I'm not going to say her last name because she may not want me to, but Andrea, I think the world of Andrea. And I love the way Andrea thinks because she gets me to think about things differently. She's always been that way. When I put on one of my retreats in California, she came out and she was very successful. She brought me out to her neck of the woods in Michigan. Now she's in Florida, and I met her husband. She's got a beautiful family, and I hold Andrea up on a really high pedestal. I really think the world of this woman. She is a critical thinker. and I think Lee is too. I mean, these are some amazing people. But when I made this post about what I didn't like about this TV show called The View, I was just making a post based on how I felt people were coming across on this show. These hosts were coming across hateful. Now, I don't watch the show, and I'm okay with them doing what they do. I really am. I mean, hey, do your thing. I am totally all about freedom of speech. Really. And I choose not to watch the show because I don't watch anything that wishes harm on anyone. So when I said hateful or a show filled with hate, one, as one of my partners brought to my attention, make sure you're clear about how you define hate, because some people may not pick it up the way I'm thinking about it. So up front, when I say hate, what I really mean is hateful. And if I had to break it down even more, I don't like watching any show. I don't want to listen to any music. I don't want to hear anything that wishes harm on anybody. So if we're in agreement there, right? Lee, if you catch this, Andrea, if you catch this, I don't want to wish harm on anybody. And I don't want to listen to anything that wishes harm on anybody. And I don't want to watch anything that wishes harm on anyone. This is not political. Now, when I get these snippets of The View, I've been mentioned by Joy. When I was doing work with Ricky Lake, and we were helping to, prevent, and reverse childhood obesity, Joy was amazing. And I think she's probably an amazing person if you know her personally. I don't know. But she seemed very supportive. She had a big heart. I've always been a fan of Whoopi Goldberg from day one when she was doing comedy on HBO, and when she did Color Purple. I have friends that are really good friends with her, and everything that they've shared with me personally, which I haven't had that experience, Whoopi seems to be a really nice, loving, caring, cool person. So when I see those two and it pops up on my YouTube, because let me also say, I don't have cable. I don't watch television. The only TV I watch is I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime, and I have YouTube. And if anything comes on TV that touches on nutrition and health, weight loss, I set it up to where I get notified so that I can be up to date. And anyone who's been to my home and spent time around me, they know that I'm flooded with information. I make time to watch everything that has to do with all that stuff. So The View, they talk about nutrition and they have certain guests on that relate to things that I'm interested in. So the algorithms are designed where they all pop up. And sometimes, because I've always liked Joy and I've always liked Whoopi, I'll just click on it to see what they're talking about. Same with a whole bunch of shows. And every time I seem to watch a clip, I feel like there is, when I say hate, they're wishing harm on people. And I don't like that. I also, let me say up front, I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I'm registered as a independent. Yeah, I grew up in a family where they're registered Democrats, and I've voted on both sides. And now let me say before I dive in, because this part will be very important, and for those of you who catch it live or you hear this before someone starts to share some hate, when Hillary Clinton, and this is the only time I'm going to share any part politics, but hear this. When Hillary Clinton went up against Donald Trump, when they were going against each other, I live in California, and I'll never forget that day when I went to vote. Because when I made this post, I had some people say that I voted for Trump twice and I'm a black Republican. Like, They call me. I mean, I'm talking about a show, and I had some people say I'm a black, Republican conservative. I'm like, what? These people just had judgment on me, and all I did was say I don't like this show because I don't wish harm on anybody. And some of the people I think the world of, Rick. I hope you hear this, Rick. Rick was like, I was adding to the few, and I go, I'm not. I don't want to be silent if I feel a certain way. And I'm making my point right now because I don't need to be silent. Dr. Martin Luther King made it very clear. Why be silent about things that matter? I don't want to see. And I just happened to pick this show. It could have been a show on Fox. It could have been a show on MSNBC. It could have been a show wherever. But I've shared with you why I ended up watching this show. Okay. So anyway, I'm in California. Election day, I have 2 daughters. They are my world. My daughters are my world. I love them with all my heart. And I will do anything, like any parent, to make their life the best possible. Sorry about that. But that morning when I woke up, I remember my daughters were playing with their little dolls. And I said, hey, Daddy's going to go vote. And there's a woman, not the first woman, but there's a woman named Hillary Clinton. She is going to probably be the first female president. And I remember getting a Beyonce song out, Girls Rule the World. If you don't know that song, you can look it up. And I went and I voted for Hillary Clinton. Now, it probably didn't matter because California was a landslide. But I wanted to vote for Hillary because, number one, if I voted for Trump, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But thinking about my daughters and the fact that a woman could win, I felt she would probably have done a, decent job. Same as I thought Trump could have done. I mean, really. But I voted for Hillary. I did. And, some people say, I can't believe you. I go, hey, man, that's who I voted for. And I just infused into my daughters, hey, girl power. And I went and I voted and I came home. And Trump ended up winning. I mean, it is what it is. I don't take it personal either way. But for some people who think I vote for Trump and I'm all about Trump because I don't like the View and how they come across, it has nothing to do with Trump. They just happen to hate Trump. And a lot of people who watch the show hate Trump. I'm not down for wishing harm on anybody. Okay. And that's the part where everybody totally misses the whole point. And if you don't sit and understand and be informed and educated, same as nutrition, then you won't get it. Okay. Now, so when I do the post, I make my comments. And so I'm going to show you a clip of a video on why I believe these guys on the show come across wishing harm on people and what I don't like about the show. And you could pick almost any show. I just picked randomly one of the shows, and I posted this also in the thread. And then after, as we go through this little segment, I'm going to make a couple points for those who are okay and willing to stick with me on this. Then I'm going to share with you 3 psychological terms that kind of will bring clarity to why people get almost kind of crazy and get offended when you mention anything that goes against what they believe is the right thing. Right? So as a guy with a master's in counseling psychology and someone that's my space, these 3 terms come to mind. So I'm going to share with you cognitive dissonance theory. Then I'm going to share with you what confirmation bias is. And then I'm going to bring clarity to dichotomous thinking, which is what creates a big eruption when it comes to the psychology around politics. But again, this is not politics. I just want to share with you what I'm saying. So let's watch this episode, this little clip that I grabbed, the one that actually stimulated me to make the post. Okay. And I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to kind of share this because believe it or not, it actually plays a huge role for people who want to become a coach in far as fitness and health, to understand the dynamics of this conversation. And it's also one of those things that can help you understand why people think the way they think. Okay. So again, stay open-minded. Just stay open-minded. This is not about beating up on The View. I just want to share with you why I feel they come across um, hateful. And when I say hateful, I'm talking about wishing harm on someone. And I don't wish harm on anyone. Okay. Anyone. I don't care what your political position is. I just don't want to be that kind of person. If you're against that, then hey, then we will never get along anyway. I am wishing peace and love and grace on everyone, right? So, like, my mom is not a fan of Donald Trump. And what I tell my mom, I say, Mom, pray for him. You say you're a Christian. She goes, I am. I said, pray for him. Pray that he becomes a better person. I mean, I've seen amazing things happen with people who pray for their spouse when the relationship is not going well, and they don't like make mean comments, and they don't like have hate and say negative things. They just pray. And the next thing you know, the spouse starts to come around in a different way and things get better in that relationship. But that's my belief. Now, if someone doesn't believe in prayer and they don't believe in God, okay, they're going to have a hard time getting my point. But if you have any kind of Christian in you or you believe in God, then I think you'll get my point. Okay, so let's check this out.
People don't want to watch the news in the summer as much as they have been. They're sick of it. They don't want to see it. I personally am dying to watch the news all summer because I want to see a possible fourth indictment for Trump in Georgia. And maybe other possible indictments. Maybe Giuliani's hair will melt.
Okay, so now I know Joy's a comedian, but I'm like, okay, so when you turn on a show like this, you go, yeah, I am wishing harm on this person. I am wishing they go to jail. I am wishing his hair melts. I am hoping something bad happens to these people. That's what I mean by I can't. I'm not cool with that. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, doesn't matter to me. Like, why can't we like pray and hope people can like become a better person? There's a way to communicate this where it doesn't come across harmful, okay, or wishing harm on someone. Okay, let's continue.
Because I really want to see a Republican debate between Trump and Chris Christie. That is must-see TV. Yeah. You have basically two bullies. Yeah. One of them's on our side at the moment, on my side anyway, Chris Christie, even though not really, but partly. Yeah, partly. And the other one is Donald Trump. So
there's good stuff coming up in debates and stuff, but when we're not on this show, like I check in on the news, but I kind of think if without checking out of the news, occasionally you forget what it's all about, the more important parts, and it's easier to get wrapped up in the faux rage of the moment, whatever someone's mad at.
No, my rage is
no,
real.
your rage. Sorry, I meant canceling the M&M. If we're going to be upset about the M&M,
it's real and constant and lengthy.
Okay. See, okay. Okay. These people, like when I say harmful, like if someone's on a show and they're talking about their rage, one, I believe that most of these people would probably say that they are a Christian and that they care about the world and they care about people. They believe in peace and they believe in love. But if the show's always talking about rage and frustrated and mad and wishing harm on someone, I can't get with that. And I don't want my kids to grow up like that. I mean, I like Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm all about like, peace. And these ladies, sometimes they're coming across like, and again, it's not just a view, whatever show I'm watching. Okay, but we're almost done, and then I'll bring clarity.
When you get the darkest times, if you come back close to home, whether it's your partner, your kids, your neighborhoods, there's a reminder of why you fight for it. In those times.
And with Anna, I'm a curmudgeon. My rage is real. I want to see almost MMA politics at this point because we need to find out what the future vision of this country is coming from the Republican Party because of Trump. And I definitely want to see the indictments. I definitely want to see Giuliani indicted. I want to see Eastman indicted. I want to see all the conspirators indicted, and I want to read all the indictments. So I think it's very hard to unplug for.
I think it's really important.
Well, okay, look. obviously there's a huge attack on the Republican Party. They want to see people like damaged. Wouldn't it be nice if I want justice to be served and everyone can be innocent until proven guilty, and let's pray for their families. If Trump or whoever has a kid or they have family members, those people are going to suffer because of did something bad or whoever did something bad. And you go on TV and you see this stuff on YouTube, and you have these people that are constantly wishing nothing but the worst thing that happened to you. I mean, think about the family members. So again, if you're in alignment with that, which falls into confirmation bias, then you won't really hear what I'm saying, because what they're saying is in agreement with the way you think and what you're saying. So you won't even get why I'm saying this. But I don't have money on either side. I really don't. I'm just looking at it for what it is. That's the same way I approach nutrition. I don't judge a vegan or a meat lover or someone who prefers chicken or someone who hates people to eat animals. I'm meeting everybody right where they are. Okay, so this segment's almost over, and then I'll go over these 3 different terms.
Being an informed citizen to keep track of the news, but I see this when we see why are Donald Trump's poll numbers so high. You guys may feel this way about why Joe Biden's are on the low side because people tune it out. My friends who are highly successful, educated people, it feels like oversaturation. Another indictment, another
24/7.
It's 24/7. And I have a girlfriend who's a new mom. She struggled with postpartum. She said, I can't watch the news because there's another school shooting. It seems like every day. I know that it's important to keep yourself, educated by watching the news, but I don't blame anyone who's like, I need to step away from
You can't turn it on with kids in this day and age. But you cannot turn it on through the Trump era, because if you watch someone polling something, I have to explain as a parent why the president of the United States just said something.
And choosing your news sources wisely.
We had 4 years of Trump. I had news withdrawals during.
Okay, let me say something, because she made a really good point. The lady that was just talking, it's like I have to explain to my kids when Trump was running against John McCain. I'm a huge John McCain fan. Like I when I was 18 years old, he came and spoke and had me in tears. And I got to meet him, and I really liked him. And full disclosure, I've met Trump a couple of times, and he was actually really nice to me. Some people hate when I'm just telling you, he was really nice to me in my personal experience. But when Trump made some really negative comments about John McCain, I was so frustrated. I was so upset. I took it personal, and I just really was up. So I get what a lot of people are doing, but I also go, look, I had to pray through that, and I had to not take it personal and just bring it back down. And I didn't want to be a person walking around with rage that these ladies keep talking about. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. Now, if you want to be that, then again, confirmation bias, they're in full alignment with you. I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to foam at the mouth and have rage and wish harm on anybody. So that could be the division of where I'm at based on a lot of people. I want justice. I want this country to be as healthy as possible. And I want things to be fair. I don't want to be on one side or the other side and just wish rage. And thank you, Mom, because the time that you spent with us about the Bible and going to church and I'm far from perfect, but I am so thankful that I'm wanting to be a person where I actually have peace in my heart and not walking around with rage. Okay, let's finish it out.
Those 4 years, because I thought that if I went to the bathroom, or blinked, there was going to be a World War III. And then we had 2 years of COVID, where we were all stuck to the TV watching the press conferences and the numbers and the vaccines and this. And, and now we don't know what the hell to do and what is a good news, because Elon Musk gives blue check marks to everybody. Yeah. So I don't even know what's real news anymore.
You know what's real news. You're smart
I
enough.
do, but it's...
You're smart enough to figure out what's real and what's not.
But it's a lot.
People need to learn what's real and what's not. Don't stop watching Fox.
Jeez. Oh man, okay. All right, let's just Oh man, these people, like, that is crazy. All right. So let me share with you guys these 3 psychological terms. Okay. Number 1, you have this thing called cognitive dissonance theory. And cognitive dissonance theory basically is like, an easy example would be, you have someone who smokes, right? So their behavior is that they smoke. And they know that smoking causes cancer, right? Cognition. They're in a state of cognitive dissonance, right? It's like the woman who says, I don't want to drink alcohol while I'm pregnant, but yet, hey, can you give me another drink? That's cognitive dissonance. So another way of looking at that is like people who are Hippocratic. We're not really focusing too much on that, but the other 2 we are. Confirmation bias is when you only want to be around the things that are in alignment with your beliefs, right? So if you looked at Joy Behar and the other ladies on this show, The View, they're not going to watch Fox because it goes against everything they believe. They're going to primarily watch MSNBC and CNN because they walk into it not willing to be open-minded, but they only want to listen to and watch things that fit with their thinking. And if they watch something that's outside of what they believe, then it creates friction inside of them, and that's not good. Okay, that's the truth. And then you have dichotomous thinking. That's also considered like polarized thinking. So for instance, you have someone, like if I do a post and I show a picture of, let's say, a meal with shrimp and it looks really delicious, people will comment who think this way and say something like, oh, I don't eat shrimp. Or you walk into the room and you say, I love chocolate milk. That person, based on after your post, will automatically assume and say out loud, oh, so you don't like white milk? So when I did the post on The View and I said, I don't like this show, people automatically, with dichotomous thinking, just created a narrative in their head about my political views, and it had nothing to do with politics. It had everything to do with, I don't like this show. I hope they don't come back on because I don't like when people wish harm on anybody. And there's a lot of what I refer to as hate that was coming from the show. But people just assume because of dichotomous thinking, oh, he must be Republican. Oh, he must be pro-Trump. And I never said I was Republican, and I never said I was pro-Trump. But that's dichotomous thinking. So I get why people are the way they are and respond the way they respond. But if we could all become familiar with like dichotomous thinking, then you can catch yourself when you fall into that trap and then remove assuming or assumptions and judgment and be able to kind of look at it for what it is. Oh, he doesn't like that show. I respect Robert. That's interesting. I wonder why. Instead of assuming that he's this. If you aren't aware of dichotomous thinking, you will then be a proponent of dichotomous thinking. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, then I didn't do a good job at explaining it. But dichotomous thinking is where I believe most of the conflicts come from, around politics and around understanding people. And the only way to really work through dichotomous thinking and make sure that that is not what's the foundation of the miscommunication or the assumptions that create judgments is to know what it really means and to be able to have a conversation. That's it. Now, if a person, someone could say, well, Robert, you should watch this show and that show. That's dichotomous thinking. As soon as if I post something like The View, or if I post like CNN, then there's some people who will go, oh yeah, well, you need to watch the real news. That's over at Newsmax or that's Fox. Huh? I'm talking about CNN. That's dichotomous thinking. So it can work on both sides. So one of the easiest ways to not fall prey to dichotomous thinking, and this is something that is real important when you're a coach. When we train coaches, I don't want them to fall into that pit of dichotomous thinking because they'll create assumptions of the clients that they're working with. Sometimes it could be their social situation, economic situation. They'll just assume that they can't afford to buy certain foods, and so they'll speak to them in a way, and that's dichotomous thinking on the coach's side. Or you have someone who is, let's say, Hispanic, and the coach is Caucasian, grew up in an area where there weren't many Hispanics. Dichotomous thinking she would create these assumptions of her Hispanic client, which aren't even true. Instead of just being present with that person and not allowing dichotomous thinking to create a cloud where there's no clarity on how to be present with that person. Anyway, I hope that helps. I found this to be really entertaining, fun. I don't take it personal. I really don't. It's just ignorance, which does not mean someone's dumb. It's just they're not aware of what I'm aware of from a psychological standpoint. And I don't take it personal. So hopefully there are some nuggets that I shared in all of this that could help everyone find that place of peace, and we don't have to have this tension around what is perceived to be a political thing. Because last thing I'll say is my points about The View had nothing to do with politics. Nothing at all. Not even a little bit. I don't want to watch anything that has people wishing harm on anyone. You know, it's like when Jeffrey Dahmer went to prison, I wrote a thesis on Jeffrey Dahmer. And as horrible of the things that he did, I didn't sit around and go, man, I hope he gets fucking raped. Sorry. I hope he gets raped, beat up, and killed when he goes to prison. I'm not that kind of person. I don't wish harm on anybody. He got caught. He did something that was absolutely horrible. And whatever the punishment was going to be, then, you know, thank goodness they caught him and he didn't kill anybody else, and he had to go and serve his time. I would not wish harm on him. That has nothing to do with politics. And I wouldn't want to watch a show every day that says how much they want to see him get killed when he goes to prison. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, that's where I live. That's where my heart is. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for making time to hear me explain it. Some people won't because they have confirmation bias. They have dichotomous thinking. They don't want to hear anything that could potentially put them in a position where they must think, or they'll start to think a little differently that goes against how they want to think. That's why it's good to have moments where you just give people a chance to talk, to share their point. And my dear friend Lee, I get that you don't like Trump. I get that, you know, but my post has nothing to do with Trump. It has absolutely nothing to do. I don't wish harm on anybody, my friend. Anybody. And if you are okay with wishing harm on people, then okay. That's where we can be different. And my post back to you was, I thought and always felt that you're the kind of person that wouldn't wish harm on someone. And if you feel that, you know, if you say, well, I'm just so mad, or I just think he's a horrible person, or like, let's say you have like these deep pent, like frustrations about him, and I believe you're a Christian, I would say, hey, bro, pray for him. Pray that maybe he wakes up and he thinks differently. Pray for the things that you would like to see in this person, instead of being in agreement with people who wish harm on someone. That's what I would tell Joy. That's what I would tell Sonny. I would say, look, get a mentor, somebody that can help you not walk around with rage, as they all shared. They all talked about they got rage in them How do you become that kind of person where you walk around with built up rage in you? Man, I mean, that is not. But if you're an atheist, then hey, I get it. God is not, you don't even believe in God. So that makes sense. But if you believe in God, it's like, wow. Because nowhere, I've never heard any God, the God of Abraham, on the Muslim side, the Christian side, the Catholic side, I've never heard anyone who honors God. I've never heard or read any of these different religions that honor the God of Abraham say, I want to wish harm on somebody. I've just never seen that. And maybe it's in the, maybe I haven't seen it in the Bible. Maybe there's a pastor that can help me like see that, or a rabbi, or like somebody. I just don't think that that's healthy to wish harm on anybody. Anyway, that's I'm preaching. Hey, I'm Robert Ferguson. Thank you guys for listening. I hope it makes sense. Somebody's going to make a comment that won't listen to the whole thing. Ask them to just listen to the whole thing, and then they'll get my point. And if they still don't get it, and if my buddy Lee still wants to wish harm and still is in agreement with people, then wow, I never saw that. I never saw that coming. So God bless my friend. He's still my friend. We just don't agree when it comes to like wishing harm on people. I don't wish harm on anybody. I want to wish peace and love for all of you guys. Life is tough enough, and I want to encourage health for everybody. Okay. People were losing them left and right. I want to just wish nothing but love and good things to happen for you and your family, everybody here. Okay. You guys have a good one. Until the next one, peace.